Okay, so let's start. Punta kayo sa whiteboard. Okay, let's recall yung example natin, no? We have a random variable. So yung x natin is the number of result na heads when 3 coins are tossed. Okay, and then we created a probability table. We have x and the probability of x. So of course we have possible walang heads, so meaning all tails, and ang probability nito is 1/8. The next one will be isa lang yung lalabas. And then the probability of this is 3/8. Then 2, we have 3/8 again. And 3, which is the maximum number. Ayan. So based on this, we have to take note that the sum of all probabilities should be 1. And if we check this, 1/8 plus 3/8 plus 3/8 plus 1/8 is equal to 1. Okay. Now, since we are dealing with probability, and diniscuss ko briefly before yung tinatawag nating probability distribution, and of course we have the best example would be the Gaussian distribution, or tinatawag din siyang normal distribution. Okay, and meron tayong importanteng detail doon, tinatawag, no? So we have the thing we call yung mga details, no? So important parameters. So we have the mean, or tinatawag din nating average, or in more technical term, we call it expectation value. Okay? And then of course, kaakibat nito, we have standard deviation. Kasama na rin dyan yung variance. Related itong dalawang ito. Okay? So in this case, how do we then calculate for these parameters, no? Okay, so we now have the probability distribution function, P of x. Okay, so in order to get this probability, so yung occurrence nung each random variable xi, no? Ang ginagawa natin, we listed on the table, gumagawa tayo ng probability space. Now, in order to get those probability, let's say probability of xi, so for example, ano yung probability ng 0? 1/8. Saan galing yun, no? We have to count the number of times na mag-occur yung variable na yan, divided by the total. Okay? So, essentially, parang ganito yung ginawa natin dun sa experiment nyo last time when I asked you to consecutively roll 2 dice, no? Tapos i-add natin yung result. Parang ganun lang din siya. Okay? So, Ni is the number of times Xi occurred. N is the total number of times we call it experiment na lang. Okay, so ayan. And so we have the probability, and paano ba natin kukunin yung ating pinakauna would be the mean, no? So how do we then do that? Let me just erase this. Ibang whiteboard pala yung na-share ko, but still you can write this naman, no? And recorded naman to. Nakusulat niyo na ba? Or clear na sa inyo to? May tanong ba? Okay, thumbs up kung okay na. Okay, so all right. So now the average measurement. So we call it measurement, although like nagtotos lang kayo halimbawa ng coin, but ano lang kasi siya, example lang siya. But in reality, for example, when you are doing experiment like kagaya ng ginawa niyo sa 101, 102 siguro, you are measuring something for several number of trials, and then ina-average nyo yun, di ba? So we have to do that too. Okay? So the average of measurement is kukunin natin yung sum nung ilang beses nag-occur. Okay? And then ano yung variable na yun? Sum over all I. And then wag natin kalimutan, i-divide natin siya by the total number. Okay? However, we can actually input yung capital N. So we have Ni over N times Xi. Okay? You have to take note though. So ilalagay ko rito, gagamit na ako ng term na let's say X na may bar sa taas. That's the average. Or in more fancy notation, we call this a bracket notation. Okay, you will encounter this in 181 unless you're already doing 181. So yan yung notation dyan. And you have to take note that this particular expression is actually the probability of X. So therefore, we can write this as sum of product of your probability times your variable. Okay? Now going back to the table, okay? Let's calculate now. So we have X, Px, 0, 1, 8, 1, 3 over 8, 2, 3 over 8, 3 is 1 over 8. Okay? Now, how do we then calculate this? Madali lang, we just follow the formula. So the expectation value of X or average, isa-sum natin. So we have the first, kahit magkabaligtad to, Xi and Pxi, okay lang. So let's say we have the first probability, 1/8 times the first variable, 0, plus next probability is 3/8 times 1, next plus 3/8 times 2, plus 1/8 times 3. Now simplifying this, we have 3/8 plus 6 over 8 plus 3 over 8. Okay? So let's add this. So we have 9, 12. 12 over 8. Or we can simplify this as, if we divide by 4, tama ba? 4, so we have 3, and then we have 2, or 1.5. Okay, so that is the average of the theoretical result. No? Now, you do remember, sino ba nandito? Okay, si Peralta. Peralta, naalala mo yung pag-toss ng dice, yung dalawang dice?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. Ilang times ka nag-toss?
50 times po.
50. Okay. So now, ito kasing table na to is all theoretical. So pero para lang mabilis ko mapakita sa inyo sa example. Now, when you have the table na ginawa nyo last time, no? You did count, for example, itong parte na to, di ba? Ang ginawa nyo, binilang nyo kung ilang beses lumabas yung result na yon, and then divide mo by the total, which is sa'yo ay 50. Tama ba?
Yes po.
Okay. So, ganun din yung gagawin nyo kapag when you are calculating for the average. So, kung mapapansin nyo, it's a tedious process. For example, kung 50 times din kayong mag-add. Di ba? So, that is why, yun, kung marunong kayong let's say sa Excel, although pag sa Excel, itatype mo pa rin lahat, di ba? Yeah. So, one of the best solution to this is to do the experiment like simulation. So, kung marunong kayong mag-program, yung nga sinabi ko before, pwede nyo siyang ilagay doon, no? But of course, kailangan nyong i-take note kung paano set, kung paano mo makukuha yung random, okay? Na way of getting yung, for example, itong ganito nating random variable. So may tinatawag tayong random number generator sa computer science. So we can make use of that. However, that's not covered muna ng ating course. So you might need to do that naman sa ibang courses natin. Okay? So yan. Okay, may tanong ba kayo sa pagkuha ng average? Okay na ba? Clear? Okay? So yeah, let me just delete this. Now, yung average pala na yun, no? Hindi ko pala nilagay dito. Yung expectation value ng x, average ng x, is actually usually denoted as mu doon sa distribution. Okay? Alright, so how about the variance, no? Variance is usually denoted as sigma squared, okay? But if we want to relate it to our variable, no? This is just a variable, no? This could mean anything, no? So kung ano man yun. Like for example, sa quantum mechanics, we usually use this as position. So pwede rin siyang i-denote as average. Oh, sorry. Not this one. Call it delta x squared. Okay? And in order to get the delta x, itong delta x na to is very much related to your plus or minus sa measurement, di ba? So ito yung ating, kumbaga, how does your measurement or your data spread, no, throughout your trials experiment. Okay, so delta x squared is actually the difference, no, between the average of your x squared minus the square of the average. Okay? So, this one, nagawa na natin to. We already established that the average is just the sum of your probability times your variable. Okay? And then i-square mo lang, huwag niyo kakalimutan to. Right? However, paano naman itong first term? Okay? Now, the first term is very much similar. So, ang pagkuha ng expectation value is general method. Kung ano yung variable na hinahanap, you just multiply it by the probability. So that means all we have to do is to follow that. No? So in this case, the expectation value of x squared is actually just the same lang halos dito. Probability times xi squared. Okay? So, how do we then do that? Of course, ginawa na natin kanina tong parte na to, then we just follow the same thing. Now, the average of x squared, or the expectation value of x squared, so i-add natin. So the first is 0 squared times 1 over 8 plus 1 squared times 3 over 8 plus 2 squared times 3 over 8 plus 3 squared times 1 over 8. So this is, wala na to, 0 na. Then we have 3, 8 plus 4 times 3. 2 squared 4 times 3. That's 12 over 8. Then we have 9 over 8. And the total of this is ilan? So we have 12 plus 12, so 24 over 8. So this is 3. Okay? Clear ba sa atin yan? Baka may mali pala ako. Paki-thumbs up kung clear. Okay. Now we do have this two value na kailangan natin. Okay. So yung delta x squared natin, sorry. Hindi siya bracket, nakaganyan lang. So we have the average of x squared is 3 minus yung mean natin. Our mean is 1.5. Tama? 1.5 squared. So ilan to? Let's see. So we have 3 minus 1.5 squared is 0.75. Okay? However, this is your variance. Okay? Now, to get the standard deviation, or tawagin natin itong sigma squared, equal lang yan sa delta x squared. Standard dev or deviation, kailangan lang natin kunin yung square root. I-square root natin yung nakuha nating result. Okay? So square root of 0.75. So we have 0.866. Yan na lang. 0. Okay? Nakakuha ba natin, guys? Okay, thumbs up. Okay. Clear ba? Okay. So now this is the kapag you are dealing with discrete probability distribution, no? Parang ginawa niyo na rin to sa ibang subject but in a different context. Like you have to do everything isa-isa. But we know that since this is a distribution function, in this case this is just discrete, no? But sometimes when you have large enough data, pwede mo siyang i-approximate as a continuous function. And of course, ano mangyayari kapag ginawa natin continuous function? Since we have a discrete distribution, we just add them. Question, ano mangyayari kapag naging continuous na yung ating px? if Px is a continuous function, how do we then, let's say, kukunin ang average ng x? Ano mangyayari doon sa formula? Sige nga. Wag mo na yung mga may 181. Any idea lang? Ano nangyayari dito? This is a calculus topic. Sino nakakaalala ng Riemann sum? Paki-thumbs up. Riemann sum. Okay? Anong ginagawa ng Riemann sum, Peralta?
Sir, parang ini-integrate, if tama pagkakalala ko, sir, parang magkakaroon, sir, ng mga sa parang i-measure yung area. Tama po ba? Gamit yung parang
Ah,
mga rectangles.
hindi. Pero saan siya ginamit na topic kung naalala mo?
Sana, sir, integration, sir.
Okay. So, ganito Naalala nyo sa calculus, for example, when you have a irregular shape function or any function at all, let's say pag ganyan, and you want to get the area from some interval, di ba? Ang ginagawa ng Riemann sum, it will create several rectangles. Tama. Tapos, ang ginagawa mo, ina-add mo yung area, no? Ina-add mo ngayon yung height times yung width. Tama? And in this case, your height is very much related to your function. Tama? So, kung ano yung binibigay ng function na yun, times multiplied by delta xi. Tama? Now, the area, masyado ko palang na-generalize dito. Di ba yun lang naman yung ginagawa ng tawag dito? Sa integration. You're just actually getting the area. Now, the area is actually the limit as your delta x. Actually, kahit di ko nalagyan ng x ito kasi we assume na uniform yung delta x mo. Approaches 0. Naalala nyo ba ito? Paki-thumbs up. Naalala nyo ba? So, ganyan yung sa pagkuha ng integration. Now, take a look at this particular formula. This is actually very much related to this one. Do you agree? Thumbs up nga kung nag-agree kayo or hindi. Or nalilito ba kayo dito? Hello? Narinig ba ako? Hi, hello? Nandiyan pa ba kayo? Okay. So now, kapag yung area natin, we take the limit as x approaches 0, ano mangyayari sa formula ng area? Dito ko na lang ilalagay. Sige nga. Ano mangyayari sa formula ng area? Magiging ano? We're just getting the area. Ano mangyayari? Charles? Ano pwede natin gawin?
Kapag ano po, sir?
Itong formula na to. If we take the limit as delta x approaches 0, mababago tong formula na to. Magiging ano? Okay, that's okay. Ano bang ginagawa ng summation? So essentially, ang problem kasi dito is you are trying to get the area. Therefore, area is just the integral. So Lagyan natin ng bounds. So this is just the integral of your f of x times dx. Tama ba? Yung delta x mo, naging dx na lang, naging differential. Tapos yung f of xi mo, since inassume mo na sobrang liit ng delta x, meaning ang dami ng rectangular strips no, sa Riemann sum, magiging integration na siya. Naalala nyo na ba to? Thumbs up nga. Naalala nyo ang pagkuha ng integration. Now, therefore, if we have a continuous function, we can do the same thing sa pagkuha ng expectation value. So, itong summation na to no, will then become, instead of summation, magiging integral siya ng probability distribution function. Okay? Babalitarin ko lang Unahin ko yung x. Yung xi magiging x. And pxi magiging px na lang. Then, kung natin kalimutan, may dx. Now, the interval could be anything. Depende ito kung ilan yung, for example, dun sa pag-toss ng die, so therefore that is, toss ng coin pala to, no? 0 to n. No? So, lagyan ko na lang ng dummy bounds. Dummy bounds lang yan. Kung ano. Or para safe, huwag na lang. Baka malito kayo. So, ganyan ang pagkuha ng expectation value kapag continuous na yung function mo. Now, it's the same thing. Kung kukunin mo na expectation value ng x squared, you just integrate yung x squared times the probability, then dx. Okay? So, sa mga nagwa-181 actually ngayon, ginawa nila to. Okay? Clear ba sa atin to? Thumbs up? And this particular formula no, is very much important sa dalawang field ng physics. Well, major lang. May iba pa namang field. So the first one is statistical mechanics. And the second one is quantum mechanics. Kasi those two deal with probability distribution function. Okay? Maliwanag ba sa atin to? Okay. So let's take a quick break. 5 minutes. Okay. So break muna and then let's continue. Okay, nandyan na ba ulit kayo? Paki-thumbs up. Okay. All right, so let's use an example, no? Now, in statistical mechanics, let's say we consider a volume, or tanggalin ko muna yung word na volume, system of n atoms, with each atom having two possible states. We have spin up and spin down. Okay. When we talk about spin, ito yung, for example, may atom ka, ito yung magnetic spin niya. So it's either spin up or spin down. You can also think of this as sa electron. Kasi electron is, it could either have spin up or spin down lang din. Okay? Now, if you have n number of atoms, no, we can take note that, let's say, n up, no, is the number of atoms with or in spin up state. Okay? Then n down is the number of atoms and in spin up, or sorry, spin down state. Okay? Now, question. Ito, babalik tayo sa diniscuss kong topic last time. How do we then get the number of possible number of possible ways to arrange yung spin up and spin down system mo, or spin up and spin down atoms sa system na may n atoms? Sige nga. Sino ang pwedeng sumagot? Anyone? Any idea?
Sir?
Ay, sino to? Okay, Peralta.
Yan po ba yung permutation and combination?
Yes. So, paano yan? Sige nga. Paano? Okay. So, ganito. Ito na lang question ko. Di ba meron kang system, no? Let's say, nasa isang box siya. So, saan katutak ang atoms mo dyan? Okay? Although, hindi mo alam exactly kung ilan yung spin up at ilan yung spin down. Tama? Pero alam mo na ang total nito is n atoms. Tama? So, paano mo ngayon i-arrange, no? Or ilang possible way, let's say, kasi marami yun, di ba? Like, kung ilan man yung n up, pwedeng kung nasaan-saan sila, di ba? And ilan din yung n down. So, parang, ang tinatanong dito is, how many ways can you arrange n up number of atoms and n down number of atoms in a system with total of n atoms? Na-gets ba yung question ko? Okay? So, now that you have that, anong method of counting yung ating gagamitin? Is it permutation or combination? Anyone? Anyone? Combination or permutation? Just give me your idea. Bakit permutation? Okay, may sinabi dito si Tabulok, since it matters if nauulit. Kaya lang, ang problem here is that, paano? Meron kang distinct two possible states. Di ba? You have spin up and spin down. Ma? Okay? So, tignan natin. Sa permutation and combination, nasa taas yung capital N factorial. Tama? And if we divide it by two possible states, kailangan natin kunin yung all number of spin up factorial, tas kung ilan yung spin down factorial. Okay? Now, I can write this in another way para isang variable lang. Let's say I want spin up. So spin up factorial times, if I want to represent spin down with spin up, all I have to do is to subtract it from the total number of atoms. Factorial. Question, anong formula ito? Permutation or combination? Okay, bakit kaya combination? Kasi sagot nyo parehas, yung mga sumagot is permutation. Bakit combination yung gagamitin natin? Think of it this way, para hindi kayo malito. Meron kang shelf, no? Meron kang shelf na, ano ba? Isang row lang, ganun. Pwede. And then meron ka lang dalawang types of book. Meron ka lang math and physics book. And you have total of n number of books. Okay? Then you have total of n, sorry, ano ba? N sub m for math books and n sub p for physics book. Pag tinanong ko kung i-arrange, di ba ang gagamitin nyo ay combination? Now, in this case, kaya siya ginamit kasi you now have two distinct states. So you have spin up and spin down. Regardless whether your atoms are the same atoms. Kasi tingnan nyo meron tayong tinatawag na indistinguishable and distinguishable particles. Ginawa nyo ba to or inaral nyo ba to sa Sa 104? Narinig nyo na yung term na yun? Anyone? Yung distinguishable and indistinguishable? Paki-thumbs up kung familiar na kayo doon. Daanan nyo na. Next time pa ba? Or sa, di ko alam kung saan topic. Narinig nyo na yung term na yun? Hindi pa. Indistinguishable, indistinguishable. Hindi pa. Sige. Okay. Now, halimbawa, mayroon kang gas. Diba? Halimbawa, ideal gas. If you have a container with, let's say, some volume of gas, pag tinanong ka, how many ways can you arrange those atoms in that container? Tama. Then all you have to do is to use n factorial. Okay. Now in this case, kung lalagyan mo siya ng additional detail, for example, in this case is, you now have a spin up and spin down state. Nagkaroon ka na ngayon ng distinction between your, do sa mga atoms mo. Kasi any of this atom could have either spin up or spin down state. So therefore, you have to use combination. Okay? And sa statistical mechanics, may tinatawag tayo dito na term. This is the number, itong formula na to, number of states or possible states. Okay? Now, this number of possible states is denoted as omega. Okay? And now, based on this diagram, if you arrange it in a different way, or agree ba kayo na there are several ways to arrange your atoms in this space? Yes or no? Thumbs up or thumbs down na lang. Yung n factorial pa lang, for example, ang dami na nun, di ba? So, halimbawa, kung naalala nyo, 1 mole of a substance is equal to 6.02 times 10 to the 24 particles. Now, 1 mole of substance lang yan. Look at this. This is 10 to the 24. This is our, wait, 24 ba 23? Avogadro's number. Ano ba yan? Kalimutan ko. I think 24. Paki-correct nga. I think it's 10 to the 24. Baka ibang 23 nga ata. Nalilito ako sa mga constants ngayon. Hold on. Let me just... Okay. However, if I multiply it by 6, no, halos 10 yan. So, pwede kong gawin 24, di ba? Let me just correct this one. Okay. 10 to the 23. Or approximately 10 to the 24 particles. Now, if we're dealing with this, if n is 10 to the 24 and ipapactorial nyo, kaya nyo bang isolve yan? Yes or no? I mean, even computers. Is this a feasible solution? Remember, this is just 1 mole of substance. No? Ang 1 mole of substance could only be like few grams of some gas, diba? Sobrang dami, no? And itong ganitong klaseng concept, no, is actually very important in physics. Now, this number of possible states, omega, okay, is related to the concept of entropy. Now, entropy, denoted by S, is actually Kb, or the Boltzmann constant, times the natural logarithm of sigma. So this is our Boltzmann constant. And this is our number of possible states. Or if we write it in a different form, yung original, ln of n factorial over n up factorial minus n up factorial. Yan yung entropy. Okay? So ito yung isa sa application ng concept ng probability and combinatorics. Combinatorics is yung methods of counting. So there you have your permutation and combination and other ways. Like for example, depende kung paano mo i-restrict yung system mo. Okay? So yan yung result. Now in this case, if you have a 1 Avogadro's number worth of particles, you can not really solve this one easily. Kasi if you factorial 10 to the 24, sobrang impossible na yan. Even compute, well, your normal laptop probably won't be able to do this. So there is actually an approximation. If your n is large enough, pwede mo siyang i-simplify. Pero you will have to do that in a different, sa 165 na lang. I'm just introducing this to you. Okay? Ano pa ba ang pwede natin gamitan ng probability? Okay? So, for example, okay? So, sa quantum mechanics, although may nagko-quantum mechanics sa inyo dito, okay? A system can be represented by a wave function. Okay? So we usually denote it as psi. It could have different dependence, no? For example, in one-dimensional system lang, you have psi of x. Okay? In three-dimensional, we denote it as psi of r, naging vector r na yan. What else? Could have different things like ito ay time independent, walang function ng time. And we also have time dependent wave function. So we have psi, dati-dati lang natin ng t. This one is psi of r t. Okay? Now, it turns out, ano ba ang concept ng quantum mechanics? Anyone? Yeah. This is for the benefit ng mga hindi pa nag-181. Ano ba sinasabi sa quantum mechanics or ano bang wave function? Sinong may idea? Or sige, lahat tayo definitely narinig na yung Schrodinger's cat. Tama? Paki-thumbs up nga kung narinig nyo na yung Schrodinger's cat. Okay. Sino hindi pa? Ba't di nag-thumbs up? Nandiyan pa ba kayo? Paki-thumbs up nga kung nandiyan pa kayo. Para alam ko naman kung yan. Okay. Tabulok, anong sinasabi ng Schrodinger's cat? Or ano yung essentially, ano ba? Ano yung sinasabi ni Schrodinger doon sa thought experiment niya? Sige nga, paki-explain. Titignan ko lang.
Sir, mag-open na lang ako ng mic. Kasi nakakatamad mag-type.
Oh, mas maganda naman audio talaga. I prefer audio na lang. Go.
Ano, sir? So, di ba? Sa Schrodinger's cat kasi, I mean, yung basis ng thought experiment is like, there's a box, and there's a cat inside. And the cat is either dead or alive. Ay, diba?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Okay. Sige,
Tapos,
try to change. Attend sa akin. Yung send mo na dun sa mga...
you have, tapos,
sa mga restricted.
parang, the only way that you can perceive if it's either dead or alive if you actually see it. So
Ah,
if you're outside of the box, you can't tell. It's dead and alive. Sorry.
yeah. Yun na lang.
Parang ganun. Ano ba ganun?
Okay. Sige, thank you.
Research na.
Parang nasa ibang klase.
Yung dito ko may klase din.
Okay. Anyway, sige ganito. May kulang sa description na yon. Well, that's actually around 80% noong buong thought experiment. May kulang pa doon. Anyone? Sino gusto mag-elaborate? Sino gusto mag-elaborate? May kulang pa doon. I want the complete picture kasi you need to understand yung buong thought experiment na yan and how does it relate to the concept of quantum mechanics. That's actually the simple explanation of the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics. Meron pang many world interpretation, di ba? But let's stick with that one. Charles, any idea? Anong kulang doon?
I think kailangan din po yatang isolated yung system. Hindi po siya na aapektuhan ng surroundings niya and nung ano. Hindi rin po pwede maapektuhan nung actions ng cat yung experiment.
Pero mayroong kulang tayo. The first thing you need to do is describe your system, no? So ang sinasabi doon, you have a box that has either a poison or ano ba? Well, that's the simple may poison doon na hindi mo alam kung magre-release or marirelease o hindi. You don't have any control whether you release it or not. That's important. Like that's the concept of randomness, no? Now, you put a cat in that box and isasarado mo. Yan, tama yan. Isolated. Hindi mo alam. No? Narinig ba ako na maayos? Paki-thumbs up naman kasi I don't want to repeat the explanation. Okay. So, now, ang sabi doon, kapag sarado yung box and you don't know exactly when the poison will be released, you have to treat the cat to be dead and alive at the same time. Okay? The only way you will know which it is by paano malalaman? By opening the box. Exactly. Now, I guess many of us heard of this thought experiment, but I don't know whether we understand it really. Or we really do understand this ba? Anyway, ano yung concept na yon? Ang pinaka-importante doon is yung dead and alive at the same time. Anong concept yun sa physics? Yeah. Superposition. Very good. So, dito pumasok yung concept ng superposition. Okay? Tatawagin natin siyang superposition of states. Okay? Yung cat mo na nasa box, no? Kapag sarado yan, hindi mo alam. So, let's say you have two states, psi 1. The cat is dead. Psi 2. Cat is alive. Now, since hindi mo pa na-open, no? Unopened muna yung box. We have to describe the wave function of your cat. The total wave function is actually the sum of this two wave function. Okay? Pero may kulang pa dyan. You have to multiply it by 1 over square root of 2. Importante to, this is your normalization constant. Okay? Now, by opening the box, will reveal either psi 1 or psi 2. Na-gets nyo ba ito, guys? Okay, thumbs up. Okay. Now, ano yung analogy ng opening the box? Yung pag-open mo ng box is actually the act of measurement. Okay, pinasimple lang ni Schrödinger. Gumamit lang siya ng ganito. But in reality, in quantum mechanics, for example, halimbawa, meron kang electron, no, na nasa isang space. No? Gusto mong malaman kung anong state ng electron. Tama? Without doing any measurement, no, or opening the box, for example, you have to treat the electron as a superposition of all possible states. Kasi ang electron could move indefinitely kung saan-saan. And kung ano yung state na yun, i-add mo lahat yun. So sometimes a wave function could be a summation. No? So let's say the total wave function could be a sum of some coefficient and some small wave function. Pwede maging ganyan. No? And the only way to know which is by measuring. No? However, for example, in the case of an electron, no? Electron na nagmo-move, the only way to know, di ba yung usually inaalam natin is whether inaalam natin yung position and momentum. Okay? Now, paano mo i-measure yun? Siyempre, you have to use something, no? Since this is an electron, you have to use, meron tayong iba-iba tinatawag. Meron tayong scanning electron microscope, photo emission microscopy, kung ano-ano. But all of those, we have to make use of a photon or kung ano man, or light. No? Now, the moment you do this, there is an interaction between your particles. You can think of photon as also a particle in this case. Now, pag tinamaan mo to, you will know, let's say, the position. But you cannot get the exact momentum. Or vice versa, you can get the momentum but not the exact position. And anong concept yun sa physics? Naman, sa mga hindi pa nag-181, anong concept yun sa physics?
Heisenberg's uncertainty.
Yun. That's the uncertainty principle. Kasi the act of measuring your system interacts with your system, therefore changing it. So, hindi mo malalaman exactly yung isang information. You can only get one as precisely as possible. But the other one, you have uncertainty. Okay? That separates quantum mechanics with a macroscopic system like in Newtonian mechanics. For example, you have a projectile motion, di ba? Sa projectile motion, we know exactly kung nasaan yung particle mo and kung anong kanyang momentum. Tama? Wala tayong uncertainty. It's a purely deterministic system. Yun yung tawag doon. Now, in quantum mechanics, dahil nga mayroon tayong limitation na yung act of measuring is since you are using a small particles too, or let's say light, photon, or electron din, they are interacting with each other and therefore changing the state of your system. So yun yung analogy sa pag-open ng box. Without opening the box, without measuring, you have to treat the cat to be both dead and alive at the same time. Now, when you want to know which it is, you have to measure. And when you open the box, diba, yung eyes mo yung magsasabi. So parang there's actually a use of photon. Parang in-observe mo ba? The moment you observe it, alam mo na exactly kung ano yung state. Okay? Clear ba sa atin yan, guys? Okay. Now, saan papasok yung concept ng probability? Okay. Now, sabi natin, we can describe any system, quantum mechanics. Actually, not only quantum mechanics. Even macroscopic system has wave function. Kaya lang, medyo mahirap siyang gawin kasi your wave function depends also on the number of particles. Okay. So, kaya ang quantum mechanics, we just study small scale system. Okay. Now, how does a wave function relates to probability distribution function? Okay. If you have a wave function psi of x, your probability is actually just the square of that. Or, since a wave function is generally a complex function. Complex meaning may imaginary term. Itong term na to can be written as psi star x psi. So this is tinatawag natin complex conjugate. So itong term na conjugate ay diniscuss ko sa inyo sa matrix, di ba? Kasi a wave function can also be represented in matrix. But more on this sa 1, 2, 3. Okay? So dyan natin ma-discuss yan. So that's your probability distribution. Ganyan siya related. Okay? Now, if we want to know, for example, doon sa uncertainty principle, di ba? Ang uncertainty principle, it talks about two uncertainties. We have error or uncertainty. Pwedeng tawagin nga yun, no? Uncertainty in the first one, since x ito, we define x as the position. Oops. Yeah. Okay. Yung x is in position and p is momentum. Now, related ito sa ginawa natin before. So ito yung actually parang pwede mong tawagin na sigma x, sigma p, or standard deviation. Okay? So paano natin kukunin yan? Sabi natin, in order to get delta x, so square to, or gawin ko na lang square root na. In order to get delta x, we need to get the expectation value of x squared minus the square of expectation value of x, and then kunin mo yung square root. Sa p, ganun din. Expectation value ng p squared, expectation value ng p squared raised to 1/2. Ganyan yung gagawin. And now, sabi natin, in order to get yung expectation value ng x, ano ulit yung formula sa integral? Sige nga, let's see kung nakikinig kayo. Anyone? Peralta? Hello?
Hello, sir. Ano po ulit yung term, sir? Medyo
Ayan, formula ng expectation value ng x or average ng x.
average ng x, sir.
We're now talking about continuous function na. Ano yung sinulat ko kanina?
Sir, yun po ba yung integral ng x times probability ng x dx?
Okay, tama. Now, sabi natin, yung probability ay related sa wave function. Tama? So actually, when you square this is actually your p of x. So papalitan natin yung ating formula. X, then we have psi squared dx. Ganyan ang pagkuha ng expectation value sa quantum mechanics. So, pag may wave function ka, makukuha mo yung probability distribution function, and therefore, makukuha mo na rin yung mga expectation value. Now, for x squared, ganun lang din. Papalitan mo lang actually yung x ng x squared. So, you have x squared psi of x squared dx. Tapos pag nakuha mo na itong dalawang to, yun yung gagamitin mo dito. Ganon din sa pagkuha ng delta P. Kaya lang, medyo tricky ito. Kasi tingnan nyo, ang ating wave function is given as a variable in x. Tama? Kaya lang, paano mo kukunin yung variable ng P? Now, to get the momentum uncertainty or expectation value, kailangan mo pang i-convert. Convert psi of x to psi of p. And dito papasok yung ating Fourier transform. Okay? So, familiar ba kayo sa Fourier transform pa? Okay, thumbs up nga. Nagawa nyo ba to? Like, or familiar pa? Okay. So, yeah. I think, discuss ko ba to sa 1, 2, 3? I think so. Sa 1, 2, 3. Okay, so i-convert nyo siya. So, for example, gagamitan nyo to na integral. Hindi ko naman nilalagay para hindi kayo ma-overwhelm na dyan. So, i-convert mo muna. And then now, if you have this function, makukuha mo yung p as integral ng p times psi of p dp. Pares lang sila ng format. May iba lang yung variable. Okay? Clear ba sa atin yan, guys? So, yan yung application ng probability combinatorics essentially in statistical mechanics and quantum mechanics. So, yun lang muna yung nilagay ko na application kasi yun naman yung tinakadadaanan yung talaga muna. Like, 181 muna and then 165. Okay? Maliwanag ba sa atin yan, guys? Anyone? Okay, clear? May tanong ba? May tanong ba kayo? So, essentially, this last class is just for you to, for us to connect yung concept ng probability sa physics. No? Kasi that's what we want to do. Okay? So, ayan. Alright? Okay. Saglit lang. We can end early. Just give me a few minutes. Take this time to write. No? Please, sana masulat nyo. Pero i-upload ko din naman later. Okay. That's clear. Okay, ilan na lang tayo. Ano ba yan? Anyway, ano nangyari? Narinig niyo ba ako?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, so I guess mag-ano na lang tayo. Anong tawag dito? Supposedly face to face, but that's fine. Anyway, mukhang tutuloy naman kayo ng 1, 2, 3 ano. So, tawag dito. Alright. So, yung ating finals, i-announce ko na lang kasi medyo matagal pa naman. Bago magpasko na lang. But based on the result, I guess, baka ilan lang mag-finals. Kasi maganda naman yung result ng inyong exam. So, yung prob set na lang ang kulang, di ba? At saka yung mga quiz naman is overall pass kasi chine-check naman natin before. So, if you have, let's say, a failing LE, then, yun, alam nyo na kagad. But, I think okay naman overall yung result. Okay? Na alam nyo naman na yung ano nyo, no? Yung status ng LE 1, 2, 3. Tama? Bari prob set na lang din ang kulang essentially. Tama ba? I mean, okay naman yung LE. Yung LE 3 naman pinakita ko roughly last time. And passing. So, isa-send ko na lang yung total score muna. And then, to follow yung prob sets and quizzes. Okay, although ang problem is mayroon pang ibang hindi nag-exam. So, hopefully ay magawa nila yun until bukas kasi last day of classes. Mayroon pa din nag-exam at saka isa pang sa quiz ata. So, yun. Alright, so if ever that, matuloy kayo sa finals, ang finals would be, I guess, let me see, January 9. So, yan. Okay, so, wala tayong class picture ngayon, kukunti tayo eh. Alright, so, ganito na lang, no? So, yung mga inaral natin this semester were actually very important sa mga susunod na courses. So, sa 1, 2, 3, essentially more on integral theorems. Well, not essentially integral theorems, but marami tayong isolve doon na integration, but in a different concept. And makikita nyo kung gaano siya related doon. Now, yung iba kasi ay dadaanan nyo na medyo matagal pa. Wala pa kayong, yung iba sa inyo hindi pa mag-181 eh. So iba is 181 and 165 and even sa theoretical mechanics. So please, if you want to take yung mga courses na yun, just keep your notes, no? And binigay ko naman yung mga notes ko rin. Although itong mga sinunod ko ngayon is yun, nandito nyo lang makakopya. Keep those and you can make use of that when you tackle those courses na. All right? So, thank you sa pagstay. Baka may problem sa connection yung iba. So, thank you and hope to see you next semester. May announcement na ba na full face-to-face? Kasi wala pa ako nababalitaan. Anyone, may nabalitaan ba kayong ganun? Wala pa. Kasi nag-register na kayo, di ba? I mean, nag-reg na kayo. Pre-reg. Tama ba? Okay, pero lahat kayo nakapag-pre-reg na, no? So, ayun. Inintay ko pa rin yung announcement. Baka early January pa i-announce. Ayan. So, let's just be prepared. Be prepared doon sa possibility na maging full face-to-face na. Okay? But thank you pa rin kasi actually, essentially, para tayong full face-to-face eh. We exceeded the minimum requirement. The minimum requirement is 50% is face-to-face. But since, due to some circumstances, kailangan natin i-online. But still, that's good, no? Mas gusto ko na face-to-face kasi mas nakikita ko kung paano nyo ginagawa yung mga tinuturo and, how to solve. And good job on, doing yung mga activities and quizzes, no? And I can see naman yung progress ninyo. And that's a good thing. All right? So I think we can end early since tapos ko naman na lahat, no? And yun, good luck and happy holidays sa inyo. Generic na lang para baka hindi kayo nag-celebrate ng Pasko. Ano. Anyway, so happy holidays and ingat kayo and see you next year. Okay? Salamat and stay safe. All right. Thank you guys. Upload ko lang later. Bye-bye.
Thank you po, sir. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
See you next year, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.